Playing at thousands of feet above sea level is one of the most brutal, unforgiving challenges in all of modern football, and England was just thrown straight into the fire without a safety net. Thomas Tuchel has just sounded the ultimate alarm bell, warning everyone that the Three Lions had absolutely zero time to adapt to the crushing conditions before one of the biggest matches of their entire campaign. When a world-class manager like Tuchel speaks out so fiercely about preparation, you know the danger is real, and the consequences on the pitch could be catastrophic. But why exactly is altitude such a silent killer for elite athletes, and how much trouble is England really in right now? To truly understand the panic behind Tuchel's words, you have to realize that playing in high altitude completely rewrites the rules of the game. It changes how the human body functions, how the ball moves through the air, and how tactics must be deployed. At thousands of feet high, the air is significantly thinner, meaning every single breath a player takes delivers less oxygen to their muscles. For a team built on high-intensity pressing, relentless running, and explosive transitions, this is an absolute nightmare. Imagine trying to sprint for 90 minutes while breathing through a narrow straw, and you begin to understand the immense physical toll this takes on the world's best players. Within just a few minutes of kickoff, lungs begin to burn, legs turn to lead, and recovery times between sprints skyrocket. What makes this situation so alarming is that adapting to these conditions isn't something you can just wish away with willpower or superior fitness. Science tells us that the human body requires days, if not weeks, to properly acclimatize to high altitudes by producing more red blood cells to carry oxygen. Tuchel's core frustration stems from the fact that the tight international schedule gave England virtually no window to prepare, forcing them to fly in, play, and hope for the best. This lack of preparation creates a massive physiological deficit, especially when facing an opponent already accustomed to the thin air, who can use the environment as a lethal 12th man on the pitch. But the physical exhaustion is only half the battle, because altitude also plays mind games with how the actual football behaves. In thinner air, there is less aerodynamic drag, meaning the ball travels significantly faster and flies much further than it does at sea level. Passes that would normally be perfectly weighted suddenly overhit and sail out of bounds. Crosses drift unexpectedly over the heads of waiting strikers, and long-range shots take off like rockets, making life an absolute living hell for goalkeepers who have milliseconds to adjust their reaction times. For a team like England, which relies heavily on precise passing networks, tactical discipline, and clinical execution in the final third, this sudden change in ball physics can completely ruin their rhythm. We often see technically gifted teams look sloppy, frustrated, and disjointed in these conditions, not because they forgot how to play football, but because the environment has altered the very physics of the sport. This brings us to the tactical dilemma that Tuchel now faces, because you simply cannot play standard sea-level football in the mountains without risking total physical collapse by the hour mark. If England attempts to press high up the pitch and suffocate their opponents like they usually do, they run the risk of completely burning out before the first half is even over. This forces a massive tactical compromise, where the team might have to drop deeper, conserve energy, and pick their moments to strike with extreme caution. But playing defensively and letting the opponent dictate the tempo is always a dangerous gamble, especially when the fans are demanding a dominant, attacking performance. It creates a fascinating chess match where physical survival becomes just as important as scoring goals. Critics might argue that elite multimillionaire athletes should be able to overcome any obstacle, but history shows us that altitude is the ultimate equalizer in football, capable of bringing even the most powerful footballing nations to their knees. We have seen legendary teams travel to high-altitude venues and look completely unrecognizable, sluggish, and vulnerable against opponents they would comfortably beat anywhere else. Tuchel knows this history all too well, and his public warning is a clear attempt to manage expectations and highlight the massive disadvantage his squad is facing. It raises a serious question about the scheduling of these crucial matches and whether enough care is being taken to protect the welfare of the players who are pushed to their absolute limits. As England prepares to step out onto the pitch under these grueling conditions, the pressure is immense, and every single substitution, tactical tweak, and drop of sweat will decide their fate. Will the squad find a way to grit their teeth, manage their energy, and overcome the environment, or will the lack of preparation prove to be their undoing in this massive test? The margin for error is non-existent, and the world will be watching to see if England can survive the ultimate altitude trap. If you want to stay ahead of the game with deep tactical breakdowns and the latest football updates just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, leave a like on the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. What do you think about Thomas Tuchel's warning, and do you believe England can overcome the altitude challenge to get the win? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below, and let's get the conversation started.